Hello everybody, I am Hacklebeast, and welcome to opening cast of ISL Qualifier number 2. Wow, that is loud. Alright, I'm going to shut that off. Oh, right, that's how I do it. Boom, now we won't get super loud messages. As I was saying, this is the opening game of ISL Qualifier number 2, SneazeL versus Pass. This will be a best of 1 PvZ on Destination. I'm liking it. Destination, it's a very stratifying map, in that there are some people that were really happy to see Destination in the map pool, and some people who were really not happy to see Destination in the map pool. Personally, I think Destination's okay. There's a lot of weird things that can happen on this map, but I don't feel it's too extremely weird like a map like Monty Hall would be. That's just too different from normal StarCraft for my taste. But it does allow you to try out little variations. I guess the biggest problem I have is the fact that it's hard to do a normal wall. That does kind of irritate me about maps. But just a minor thing. Excuse me. So, I should change these colors. SneazeL is teal. Pass is white. Or off-white, as it is. And throwing down the 12 hatch for Pass. Let's see how SneazeL walls this. There are a couple different things you can do with your wall. All of them kind of have weaknesses, and it looks like he's going to go for the nice and safe Ling-type wall down here to prevent run-bys to some extent. They can still get around the back until you put the cyber core down there. But the problem with making this kind of wall is that... Ooh. Well, I take that back. SneazeL's going for a very risky build. Going for a Nexus first and then Gateway. Forge third, if at all. It's going to be relatively safe because he did scout out Pass going for the 12 hatch. So he could have mixed it up if he needed to get out earlier cannons, but even with a 12 hatch, this can still come with risks at times. And this is not Ling tight on this side. He does make a wall here that's able to block with the Nexus and the Gateway. It's not tight, as opposed to a larger gap. But I almost think that this wall is like the worst of both worlds. I guess it's like halfway between, because it still does allow some Ling run by here, and then around the back even. He didn't put the cyber cord down here to block off completely. But at the same time, it's kind of far forward. It really doesn't stop the Hydralisks from sniping the Nexus, which is a real threat on this map. When a player goes Hydra Bust and you just want to hide behind your wall, if your Nexus is part of the wall, that means the Nexus can be taken out. Anyway. Well, we'll have to see what SneazeL does with his little bit of a greedy build. The greedy build is going to get him the faster Nexus for a little bit better economy. Going to get him the faster cyber core because he threw down the fast Gateway. So how will he be able to utilize this? Looks like SneazeL's checking out the back. He's not going to be able to mine out those minerals if he wanted to. Meanwhile, Pass doing pretty standard stuff. He has 3 hatcheries, getting a lair. Most likely we'll see a spire beyond that. Ooh. Pass was not expecting such a fast Dragoon, and in fact is going to lose his first Overlord. Normally you are going to lose that Overlord anyway, but it at least survives until Corsairs come out. But SneazeL with the early Dragoon, gonna pick it off and deny scouting. He wasn't quite in range to see the Stargate. So he knows SneazeL went for fast tech, but he doesn't necessarily know what tech that is. A Corsair is going to have a little bit more time than normal. As I said, the Cyber Core came out a little bit faster, which means that relative to the Spire is going to be a little bit later. Corsair might be able to get 3 Overlord kills instead of just the normal 2. Ooh. Yep, and this is destination for you. That assimilator is completely exposed. You're going to have to take units to defend it. And even now there's just a Dragoon and a Zealot versus a handful of Lings. That can be bad for the Protoss sometimes if they get surrounded. It's not a guaranteed win. Looks like SneazeL is slowly filling up the holes. Got these 2 guys covering this side. A Zealot in between the Nexus and the Gateway. Another Zealot covering the Gateway, or the Forge, excuse me. The Forge and the Cliff Wall. Now, the most defining trait about destination is the large number of double bridges. There's the double bridges in the middle of the map. Well, this is a triple bridge, but there's also the 2 double bridges that lead to each of the mains. And double bridges are very easy to contain with really any kind of ranged unit, just because units have such a hard time getting over that, and even as they go over, it's just one at a time. So Lurkers or Dragoon contains can be very, very powerful on these maps. As I said, the Corsairs are going to be out a little bit faster, and they're now up to 3 kills already. It looks like they're going to be able to get, not quite a 4th kill, almost, before the Scourge come out. But extra Overlord, always nice to be able to pick up. It looks like SneazeL is he's not going to do anything particularly fancy with his earlier tech. Just going to be 1 step ahead of the Zerg. He does have Templar archives. I don't see Storm researching, indicating that he's probably going to go for a little bit of Ser DT play, but I don't see the DT. I don't see the DT making. Is he already out on the field somewhere? I don't think so. Anyway, SneazeL's getting up to a pretty high Corsair count now, up to 4. And once he gets a couple more, he's going to be able to bully around the Overlords and not have to worry about Scourge as much. This is actually starting to really hurt Pass now. He's at 56 and heavily supply block, trying to go Mutalisks. Oh. SneazeL not paying attention. He's going to lose... excuse me. He's going to lose his Corsairs. And here comes a speed lot attack, realizing that he's going to stop his opponent from being able to make many units. He's very heavily supply blocked. You want to try to do some damage with this +1 speed lot timing. There are only Mutalisks overhead, but Mutalisks have a pretty low attack rate against units of VP Zealots. They are going to be able to snipe the spawning pool. That is a nice pickup for him. And now, how many drones is he going to be able to pick off after that? Looks like he's not going to be able to get any of the drones. Unless this one is able to come back around, but I do believe it will be found by the Mutalisks. He's trying to hide it, but it is not a DT, so much harder to hide. Huh, I guess it's gonna work. Just gonna hide a Zealot in there. Can use that for scouting at a later point. Well, looks like SneazeL was not going for DTs, instead going just for some fast Archons. Still no Storm. Rather interesting. And now Pass really does need to do something with these Mutalisks. He's still supply blocked, and this is his only opportunity to do damage for a little while here. And if he isn't able to make anything happen, that's really going to come back to haunt him in this game. You need to do damage with your Mutalisks anyway, but considering SneazeL already getting some nice early game aggression going with his Corsairs and with his speed lots, I'd say it's even more important for him to get some kind of damage done. Looks like SneazeL's gearing up to take a third back here at this mineral only. He did mine out the minerals, so he'll be able to reinforce it. Pass continuing to try to find the hole in SneazeL's defense. These are not +1 Corsairs. Sometimes when players like to get a lot early Corsairs, they're going to get the +1 anyway because it's a cheap upgrade, and it really does make your Corsairs a lot stronger. But here comes Pass in. He split out his Scourge to prevent splash damage, and now going to try to do something, but oh, there was an Archon in a perfect position. A lot of the Scourge died to various cannon and Dragoon fire, and Pass is going to pull out without getting a shot off. SneazeL looking pretty solid this game. Just doing everything, essentially flawlessly to this point. He hasn't had a really huge mistake. Looks like the Zealot finally died. Pass taking his own mineral only back there. Might as well, it's a completely safe expansion to take. And Pass has discovered SneazeL trying to take this mineral only. That will be another target for him. But as we saw before, the minerals had been mined out here, so it's going to be very easy for SneazeL to get his army back here. And pretty easy for him to take a 4th even, if that's what he wants to go for. Uh-oh. SneazeL's Corsair's getting a little bit too far ahead. Going to take some unnecessary Hydralisk fire, but now that the rest of the army's coming up, Hydralisk can be forced to retreat. Pass even got +1 armor for his air units, which is all the more surprising. He really hasn't been able to do anything with them yet, as you can see here. When you get that +1, it's a pretty big commitment, and to have no damage done, it's just even more money essentially wasted. That will certainly not help him in a later stage of the game. Looks like 1-1 is on. Oh no, he already has +2, so he's going for 2-1. Interesting. Most players don't get the 2-1. They go for the 3-0 first. Unless he has another forge somewhere, which is a complete possibility. Ah, he's warping it in here. Okay, makes sense. SneazeL now going for a very late +1 air weapons. That might be a response to noticing that Pass got +1 armor, but I'm kind of surprised to see that, because Corsairs won't be effective for too much longer in this game, and I almost want to say that they kind of lose their effectiveness by the time that +1's going to finish. I mean, it's a cheap upgrade. It's only 100/100, if I remember correctly. So, it's not a huge game-changing decision, but a little bit surprised to see him get it. Anyway, relatively nice SimCity for Pass is going to make us SneazeL contemplate it a little bit more. Looks like the Sunkens are a little bit exposed. There's a gap here. But Pass is going to have the nice surround coming up with a huge number of Hydralisks. He's going to have to attack up a high ground that's going to hurt him. Storm going down, a pretty good storm, but Pass just happens to dodge most of it. Now the Sunkens have gone down, and the Hydralisks are going to be forced to retreat now that the Speedlots are turning around, and it looks like this base is going to go down. A few more Hydralisks morphing, but that's not going to be enough, and GG from Pass. SneazeL, winning the best of 1 with relative ease, is going to go on to the second set. Alright, so I am pretty sure that this next game is SneazeL versus TTF. No. Alright, it is not. Alright, so TTF was a walkover, which means we're not going to do the way that we're supposed to be casting. Going back to the bracket real quickly. TTF was a walkover, so SneazeL will be getting to the finals. And this is the game between TechnicS and Plumbum that we are about to see. Or the series between TechnicS and Plumbum. Let me just drag these into correct folder. Alright. So, TechnicS versus Plumbum, game number 1 on Aztec. So, we have ISL 3 TechnicS as the purple Zerg. ISL 3 TechnicS as purple. I'll get the capitalization right after I type in these names. ISL 3 Plumbum as the green Zerg. And capital S on the TechnicS. And also a dash. I'll give him the dash. So, ZPZ on Aztec. Now, TechnicS was a... Was it TechnicS? No. I can't remember now. One of them, I think it was Plumbum. I think it was Plumbum who was really worried about his game and was talking to like Bakuyu about it yesterday. He was saying how everybody 9-pool speeds on this map. And it looks like Plumbum is going to be going for a 9-pool speed. He is not scouting in the conventional direction. It's normal to go towards your opponent's natural, but he is scouting towards his opponent's main. TechnicS with the 12 pool, so TechnicS going to have the nice advantage here. Yeah, Plumbum needs to do some good damage with the early speedlings to make it worth it, and he will. The benefit is he will have a much faster speed. Excuse me. TechnicS's extractor is just finishing now, and speedlings are a lot stronger than non-speedlings. And the other advantage he's going to have is he's going to have faster Mutalisks in case TechnicS is not prepared for that. But those are small advantages to have compared to the nice economic lead that TechnicS gets. So, see what the links are do. TechnicS? Ooh, TechnicS went for the in-base second hatchery. And that's going to be really difficult for Plumbum to deal with. Normally, at least with when you go 9-pool speed, you can try to get some nice micro opportunities against your opponent because they put their because they threw their expansion down faster, and you might be able to snipe it and win the game with that. But TechnicS put his hatchery in base, so it's going to be completely safe. And now Plumbum really just has to win with his initial Mutalisks. There's not much else he can do, and that's a pretty hard task. Spire going down for TechnicS now. Ooh. TechnicS delayed his speed so that he could get his lair out faster, and now is actually going to have a faster Spire than Plumbum. Plumbum's in a good amount of trouble here. They're basically even on everything, except for TechnicS has a slightly faster Spire and a hatchery. And I think he has a couple more drones where Plumbum has a couple extra Zerglings. But he is throwing down a creep colony, so he will be able to defend against Plumbum if Plumbum does have a couple extra lings. Plumbum's going to poke down, and he is going to be able to bust through the arc for TechnicS. But how much damage? Ooh, surprisingly, TechnicS didn't pull back any of his lings. Normally, you at least pull back with 4 or so lings so that the Lings are a little bit more fearful in running in here. But no, TechnicS let all of them die. Still, good drone drills are going to make it so he doesn't lose a single drone. Although Plumbum is going to be, can be annoying with a few Lings here. I'm not sure if he can quite hit that hatchery with a Ling. I don't think so. But he might be able to snipe a probe if it gets a little bit too far away from the sunken. Spire up for both players. Plumbum is making a single Mutalisk, and TechnicS is making a couple pairs of Scourges. So these Scourge should be able to get the Mutalisk. Plumbum only has that lone Muta, but it is going to fly away. It's going to retreat up to a corner of the map. Interesting, flying it just up here so that the Scourge wouldn't be able to kill it off. That's a pretty cool move. Now, Plumbum is supply blocked. He's at 15 out of 9. And I don't think TechnicS meant to do that. I think he meant to send both of the Scourge to hit the Overlord, but he lost one of the Scourge, so he just wasted the other Scourge into the Overlord. The Overlord might even be able to recover another 15 health before the next Scourge gets there. Meanwhile, TechnicS starting to get a Mutalisk flock of his own. Both players only have 2 at the moment. Yeah, that's 2. Plumbum making a couple more, and here come the Scourge. Still, 2 Mutalisks is not enough to micro. Is TechnicS is still going to just kill Overlords, though. Plumbum supply blocked once again. Oh, gets the Mutalisk. First Scourge would have dud because he hit the Mutalisk as it was still hatching, so it recovered all that health instantly. TechnicS droning up pretty hard here. He has 3 drones on the way. Is that an indication that he's going to expand? I think he has enough drones to build Mutalisks out of one hatchery and Zerglings out of the other. So I'm kind of surprised to see him get that many drones. It seems to be a little bit of an oversaturation for a ZVZ. Unless he's planning on making another hatchery sometime soon. Anyway, TechnicS now moving out, just a pair of Scourge following his Mutalisk flock, and I think his Mutalisk flock is a bit bigger than his opponent's. Injured Overlord should be able to pick that off with the Mutalisks rather easily, and GG from Plumbum. Not even going to bother to try to micro. TechnicS takes game 1. Alright. Game number 2, TechnicS versus Plumbum on Sniper Ridge. Huh, okay. So, we have ISL 3 Plumbum as the blue Zerg, bottom right. We have ISL 3 TechnicS as the orange Zerg, orange, at the top left. Cross positions on Sniper Ridge. Now, I'm kind of interested what Plumbum does on this map. He was talking about how powerful he thinks 9-pool speed is on Aztec. So then he did it on that map. It didn't quite work out for him. 9-pool speed on this map is probably not going to be very good, especially considering its cross positions. So I wonder if he's going to do something something different this game, or if he's just going to stick to the game plan. Nope, he has an Overlord on the way, so he will be changing it up from his build last time. TechnicS, on the other hand, is going to go for a 9-pool. So Plumbum should have the advantage here. I want to say even if he does go 12 hatch, it's going to be entirely possible that he's able to defend it, given cross positions. Oh, and he goes for the 12 pool anyway. So Plumbum certainly should have the advantage in this game. TechnicS getting the 9 pool speed. So it looks like an exact role reversal from last game. Now, this isn't a 3-player map, so TechnicS will discover that there's nobody at this bottom expansion that didn't have to guess between Cross and the other close. I would say that most Zerg players tend to guess Cross when they don't know between the two. But certainly a good number will guess close. How many Zerglings is Plum going to make? Only 4? No, okay, there we go. He's going to make that one. Good. He might have been able to get away with not making a full set of Zerglings, but it would have been a little bit... scary for him. And Plum is going to throw down the the hatchery at the normal timing for a 12 pool. This is what the game would have looked like if TechnicS had not gone for an in-base hatch. He would have built one around this time outside. It looks like TechnicS is going to guess Cross, so he's going to get lucky, and Plumbum going to send out his initial lings. He doesn't know that his opponent went 9 pool speed, so he will find his opponent in the middle of the map. He should pull back. There we go. His opponent had more lings, and speed should be finishing very soon. Oh, it is already... Is it not already done? Ooh. He didn't go 9 pool speed. He's going for an extremely fast lair. His lair's already halfway done. Plumbum hasn't even built his gas. Oh. What? Plumbum hasn't even built his gas. He's building a 3rd hatchery. That's interesting. Now, normally when you see 3 hatches this early in a ZVZ, you just say, "Oh, it's a 3-hatch speedling all-in." But he doesn't have the gas yet, and that's what's confusing me. Because normally you'd get the gas so you can get speed. And he's also throwing down a sunken colony here. I don't know why he would need to throw down a sunken colony if he's just going to spam lings. So I'm a little bit perplexed by Plumbum's build here. I'm not exactly sure what he has in store. But I am quite intrigued by it, I have to say. ZVZ is not a matchup known for its innovation, so when you're trying something new, it is highly interesting. Meanwhile, TechnicS getting his very fast Spire and throwing down a 2nd hatchery in base. So he's going to have a similar looking build to what he had last game, but off of a 9 pool rather than a 12 pool. A little bit weaker economy, a little bit faster for the Spire. Plumbum, still no gas. Still no gas, and getting a very fast Evo chamber. That Spire's about as fast as it could possibly be, and the Evo chamber is still going to beat it significantly. Because the Evo chamber builds much faster. Yeah, I think Plumbum messed up his timing just a little bit there. For when the fastest Mutalisks could be. But he'll certainly have spores up in time for when the Mutalisks come. It's a very interesting build. It's a defensive 3-hatch build in ZVZ. And he's creeping up hard. There's now 5 creep colonies and 1 sunken. I assume that this will be a sunken and then spore. He actually doesn't have enough money to make them all into spores yet. Oh, no, that one's going to be a spore as well. It needs just a little bit more to make that one into a spore. And they are going to be in time for the Mutalisks. They kill off an Overlord and are now heading down. So yes, these spores are going to be more than in time. And he's going to make another creep colony there. This is... Huh. Well, these mutalisks aren't going to be able to do anything. Plumbum overspored. He probably could have gotten away with just 2. If you put this one in a little bit better location, like here. If he... Actually, he doesn't need this one at all. If he just put one here, he would have been completely safe. I think. Maybe this one and this one would have been completely safe. But he has 4 spores in his natural. There's nothing that's going to happen. He's going to have 3 spores in his main. Nothing's going to happen for a long time. TechnicS is now going to expand, so he's going to have 3 hatcheries of his own. And if this is not... What? Wait. What? Double Evo chambers? Double... Does he not realize he has an Evo chamber? I mean, he needed to get an Evo chamber to get his 8 spore colonies. So, he should realize he already has one. What 2 upgrades could you get out of the Evo chamber? You're gonna get armor and melee upgrade? Armor and ranged upgrade? I don't know. That's spore colony number 9. Well, he's gonna get armor and range. He's gonna get fast 1/1 hydralisks. And there's the hydralisk den. There's no way this is gonna work. Like, no way. Hydralisks are terrible in ZVZ. They just are. Hydralisks suck versus Zerglings. Hydralisks suck versus Mutalisks. Hydralisks suck versus Swarm. Not very good versus Lurker. They're just bad. A 4th hatchery going down. Oh, man. Well, TechnicS is going to respond by going Hydralisks himself. I guess there's not much else to do. And not just Hydralisks, going Lurkers. I guess there's not much you're going to do against 5 spore colonies in the natural. So might as well just go for a ground army. The Lurkers will eat through the Lings immediately. And the Hydralisks might do something versus the Lurkers, but TechnicS is going to have more Lurkers than Plumbum has Hydralisks, or at least he does for the moment. Plumbum only getting his lair up now. I mean, so far everything's going Plumbum's way, in that this is exactly what he wanted. He wanted to turtle up, he did that. He wanted to get his 1/1 upgrades, he did that. I mean, he has to know that the opponent's going to be allowed to do whatever the hell they want. Well, let's see it. Lurker... Not quite Lurker bust. Gonna wait a little bit longer. And... Ooh. Sunken colonies are very good versus Lurkers. They do 40 damage a shot. And the Lurkers only have 125 health. So, I guess there's nothing to do but just build some more creep colonies. Building some more creep colonies. He actually... I think he has more creep colonies than drones at this point. I feel semi-confident in that statement. What is this? Plumbum's been watching me play campaign too long. He's trying to win by making a train of sunken colonies. It doesn't work most of the time, Plumbum. Oh, man. Well, he's gonna push the lurkers back a little bit. What kind of tech is TechnicS going for behind this? No real tech yet. Just getting some Hydralisk upgrades, getting some armor and range upgrades as well. I don't even. I don't even know. I don't even know, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 spore/sunken colonies. Well, Plumbum's going to move out with his Hydralisks. He did start his upgrades a little bit faster than TechnicS did, but TechnicS has lurkers. So, lurkers should be pretty good. He's even going to have time to put them at a choke if he wants to. Nope, apparently he doesn't. And is Plumbum going to attack up the cliff? This does not seem like it's going to work out for him. I mean, he's going to take out the Mutalisks. But there's no way he can break this. There's no way he can break this with Hydralisks. It's like the span that these 5 lurkers are going to cast is going to be like a storm. And then another storm. And then another storm. And then another storm. I don't know, man. Plumbum now getting his Spire at the 13-minute mark in a ZVZ. TechnicS has taken a third, and it's a pretty safe third because there's nothing the Hydralisk can do. Hydralisk cannot do anything. And it doesn't help the fact that he spent like literally 3k minerals on base defenses that he could have spent on something that's not base defenses. Queen's Nest for TechnicS, so he will be the first to go up to Hive Tech. And Swarm is just going to be devastating against Plumbum's Hydralisks and Plumbum's sunken colonies. Because Hydralisks don't do anything under Swarm, or against Swarm. Sunkens don't do anything against Swarm. Looks like TechnicS tried to set up a hidden expansion here, but one Zergling's going to shut that down. TechnicS now ahead by 30, 40 supply. No, 45 supply. Plumbum's pretty dead. Plumbum's pretty dead. Is that his +2 attack? Yeah, this is +2 attack finishing up. Don't know why I bothered to build a Hydralisk there. TechnicS now attacking up a hill, and his lurkers aren't getting into the battle until pretty late. Now here come the lurkers, and lurkers are going to force Plumbum back. But Plumbum getting the better of that engagement, even if he did have the smaller army. Now only down by 30 supply instead of 45. And he's going to set up a base, so he's going to be on even bases with TechnicS. So he won't be continuously falling behind in supply. But the Hive has already started for TechnicS. Has Plumbum thrown down a Queen's Nest? Yeah, Queen's Nest yet? No, he is not. Oh, TechnicS going to shut down this expansion from Plumbum. I believe Plumbum does. No, Plumbum does not have better upgrades. Same upgrades for both players. Oh, Plumbum's now supply blocked. He had a lot of overlords floating around in the middle of the map, but TechnicS was constantly picking them off. And now he is once again falling behind in supply, down by about 50 now. Hive's done. What kind of hive tech will TechnicS go for? Nothing yet. Ooh, nice! Realized the Mutalisks were retreating, get his Hydralisk into position, picks off 3 or 4 of them, and almost gets that one as well. Nice. Nice game sense. Still no hive tech. And still no Queen's Nest for Plumbum. I have to assume he's going to throw down hive tech pretty soon. He didn't just get the hive for adrenal glands. That'd be kind of weird because he has no Zerglings. He might have... Well... He might have gotten the hive for +3/3. That is a possibility. With Zerg upgrades, you can't get 3/3 until you get the hive. So maybe it was that? Was that the entire reason for getting the hive? Well, TechnicS can pretty much A-move at this point. Plumbum didn't have his Hydralisk up on the high ground, so pretty even in terms of army positioning, and TechnicS has a much, much larger army. He's going to push Plumbum back. Plumbum didn't even retreat far enough back, and he's going to lose all of his Hydralisks now. Or almost all of his Hydralisks, a couple of them alive. This base is completely exposed, and GG from Plumbum. TechnicS 2-0s it. Alright. So, going back to the bracket, I will explain my sounds of anguish. Going back to the bracket, SneazeL beat Pass, and TTF didn't show, so SneazeL is in the finals. TechnicS just beat Plumbum, so TechnicS is in the finals, so it will be SneazeL versus TechnicS. But SneazeL versus TechnicS is not done yet. So we're going to jump all the way over to the top right side. And we will be seeing the best of 3 between AstrO and Jumper. Alright, Jumper versus AstrO. Changing it back to this screen so you can watch the game. Tends to be good when the viewers can watch the game. Alright. 0. Let's get this started. So, we have ISL 3 Jumper as the red Protoss. Jumper. All capitalized. And we have ISL 3 AstrO, who apparently wanted his name changed to Kid Canada. Or Draw. I think he wanted it changed to Draw. But it would appear he was not able to get that done. So it is AstrO versus Jumper. I would like to change the text. Jumper's name. There we go. Looks better with white. And we're going to have a PvP on Aztec. So, AstrO is a player who very much likes to play into the late game. In pretty much in all of his matchups, but especially in PvP. He likes getting some nice upgrades. Likes just waiting, and then moving out with a 200-2 army. 200-200 perfect composition army. and then wins by his superior mechanics. On the other hand, Jumper likes DTs. So he will be building DTs. Probably before other units. In what you would call a DT rush. But, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves there. He might not DT rush. So, that's kind of interesting. Both players are going to scout the middle looking for proxies, and then see each other's probe that scouted the middle for proxies, and then know where their opponent is and not go the wrong way. That was kind of cute. They're going to see that neither player is doing anything different. Well, I take that back. Jumper's Cyber Core is and it's not that much later. So Jumper's Cyber Core is just a little bit later than AstrO's. Neither player building the initial Zealot, just going for Dragoons as fast as possible, going for tech as fast as possible. Now, when scouting in a PvP matchup, it's easy to get the probe in there. Even when there's a Zealot on the ramp, it's often very difficult to actually micro the Zealot properly to keep the probe out. But it's hard to keep the probe alive long enough to see what kind of tech your opponent is going for, and that is the real prize of scouting with the probe. Once the Dragoon comes out, then it's, well, as I said, it's hard to run away. But if you can, then you have a huge leg up over your opponent. So we'll see if either player is going to be able to. Both players getting the, excuse me, both players getting the range upgrade for their Dragoons. Sometimes, if you want to be super sneaky, you cannot get the range, but instead get the +1. And because it's a cheaper upgrade. And then trick your opponent. They'll see a spinning core, they'll assume it's Goom range, and then you go DTs anyway. But, looks like not this game. Ooh. Jumper even pulling a probe to get the last necessary shot, or to make the Dragoon shot the last necessary shot. Very fancy, very fancy. Jumper's probe, meanwhile, was able to get out of there in time, but it looks like he ran into the Dragoon again anyway. And that probe will be taken out. So both players will, ooh, never mind. AstrO going for a very fast robo facility. 1 gate, 1 core, 1 robo. Now that's a little bit too fast for observers. Even if Jumper was going for DTs, which he is not, he wouldn't need a robo that fast. That's probably for reavers. But Jumper's going for 4 gate off of a single base. So 4 gate off of 1 base is pretty all in from Jumper. You don't have the money to really produce off of all 4 bases constantly. You certainly don't have enough to start to make a reservoir where you can build an expansion. So, AstrO will have better tech, but it's going to be very... Ooh, it is for Fast Observer. Alright. AstrO just being very cautious against Jumper. That's not an unreasonable thing to do. Going to get the very Fast Observatory. Going to make sure that... excuse me. Going to make sure that he can see any DTs coming. What I was going to say, though, is that AstrO's going to have out a faster Reaver. But Jumper's going to have a huge, huge number of Dragoons. He has 4 gateways up compared to AstrO just getting up 2. So, AstrO's going to have to micro that Reaver when he does get it very, very effectively to not die. Wait. Alright. I will... 1 second. 1 second. Alright. Is the banging gone? Because that's typically the cause of the banging. Anyway, Jumper moving out with his Dragoons now. And he does have a much larger number. AstrO hasn't even gotten a chance to get his Reaver out yet, just now throwing down the robotic support facility. But this is looking pretty bad for him. Jumper now has the top of the ramp. and he's going to be able to move down into the natural. He still has a higher number of goons, but he's getting, it's hard for him to move down through the small ramp. AstrO pulling probes, and that's going to be enough to hold off Jumper momentarily. Shield battery warping in. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? He's no longer stopping Jumper from getting out of the ramp, so he's able to get down 5 Dragoons very easily, and is now just picking off a lot of the probes, and not taking too much fire from the Dragoons until just now. So all of AstrO's probes are going down. He now has very bad saturation, although it did give him enough time to get up a good enough goon number to hold off Jumper, if not momentarily. Reaver's out, and that is going to be the saving grace. I don't think Jumper's actually going to be able to attack down the ramp with a Reaver there. But at the same time, if he just expand, Jumper can expand behind this. He really doesn't need to continue the aggression. The Reaver does not have a shuttle to protect it, which is makes it quite scary. It does have a shield battery, but shield battery not as good as a shuttle, and it's a shield battery with no energy at the moment. AstrO now getting a Citadel. He has an observer in the base, and he can see that there was not a robotics facility down immediately. So I think he's hoping he might be able to do some damage with some DTs, knowing that retarded Scarab, knowing that Jumper doesn't have observers out. Is Jumper really trying to just bait Scarabs? Because that's the second time he did that. I really don't know what he's going down there to look for. Well, nobody is complaining about the banging anymore, and I did not change the way I move my mouse, so I guess that means it was the Brood War. I will be restarting the cast after this because that seems to be the fix for it. I really have to find a permanent fix for that, though. Alright. Did AstrO cancel the shuttle? Because he had a shuttle building before that. I don't see it around the map. Not sure. Anyway, DT out. Jumper might be able to see the DT if he sees the glimmer. He does not have an observer. Now has an observatory, but the observer hasn't started construction yet. So will AstrO be able to do something? Even once he gets that one observer out, he either has to cover his main, cover this attacking force or cover his main. And it looks like AstrO's going in for a DT drop. So this could be pretty bad for Jumper. If Jumper sends his first observer out across the map, it won't be able to come back in time, and 2 DTs will completely destroy the mineral line. And yes, the observer is heading out. Will it intercept the shuttle? Oh, they're gonna see each other. He's gonna see the shuttle coming in. He should turn the observer around. Yes, Jumper realizes what's going on, and he will be able to shut this down relatively easily. Oh, is he even gonna be able to snipe the shuttle? No, he's not able to snipe the shuttle. So it will drop off all of the DTs and Zealots, but they're not gonna be able to get too much damage done. Reavers do not hurt their own units when firing into probe lines, so he doesn't need to worry about that. Although that Zealot did do a lot of damage to that Reaver, he actually has to do micro against the Zealot. But he didn't lose his Reaver. He took out the drop. So good play by Jumper. There is still a DT running around in the base, but going to be killed. Goodbye. And AstrO is just getting a lot of Reavers, up to 3 Reavers now. And that's going to be, it's going to be really hard for Jumper to get down the ramp, but at the same time, Jumper can just expand, and AstrO cannot expand. He's going for a hidden expansion. He could try that, but it's going to be killed if ever discovered. In fact, it looks like units are heading in that direction now. No, they're just meeting up in the middle of the map. How much longer till draws mined out? They're down to below a third of their of what he started with, so he doesn't have that much more time to make something happen. AstrO ferrying out a good number of units to try to defend this expansion, but Jumper's going to be able to kill it off. He just has so many Dragoons, even with the choke, even with the high ground. It's not going to matter. AstrO going to be forced to cancel. And that is rather costly at this point. AstrO does not have a lot of minerals to play around with. Looks like he's going to go for another... Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh! Reaver, DT, Zealot, all gone. Very unlucky timing by him. Just trying to fly out, trying to get any kind of harassment done, but... Oh, it is not looking good. 86 supply compared to 58. I think if AstrO wasn't dead already, I do believe he is dead now. Jumper's finished his expansion, transferring probes over. Getting shuttle speed. Oh, AstrO. He's going to try to get a gateway out here, build DTs, and do something. But it has been discovered. So sad. Trying to pull out all the fanciness possible. None of it is working. He's moving out with 2 Reavers now. Speed is still has 2/3 of the way to go. Still does have this pylon down here. You can try to build gateways over there. Probably not going to work. Alright, and here comes the Reaver. Can the Reaver do amazing amounts of damage? No. No, it can't. It can do absolutely nothing. Neither of these Reavers have... Oh, this Reaver has a single kill. 2... I believe it was 2 Dragoons. No, it wasn't 2 Dragoons. It was a Dragoon and a probe for a Reaver. Not a very good trade. He's going to have a chance to do some damage here. There are no defenses over on this side. He can put the Reaver in the path that the probes are running to. This is where you want to be when doing Reaver micro. It's perpendicular to the retreat path of the probes, although the probes are not retreating. So, only going to be able to pick up a few more. Unfortunately, Reavers are not as imbalanced as tanks, so he can't just put a Reaver here and kill everything. And Jumper's just sending out scouts just to make sure that he's not missing a hidden expansion somewhere. Just going to play this very safely. And he's ahead by 30 supply. AstrO, 100 minerals per patch. GG from AstrO. Jumper takes game 1. And that's a bit of an upset. I think if you ask most people, Jumper is a very talented Protoss, but AstrO has been looking very strong since returning. So, inside long into fish. I'm going to restart the broadcast now, and hopefully the sound thing works itself out.